Join me now is Dr. Basima Williams. We're going to talk about several things. Here's a new report out. The fertility rate in the U.S. dropped to an all-time low in 2024 with less than 1.6 kids per woman. That's what new federal data shows. And of course, our buddy Nick Helscher put out this report, as you know. mRNA injections induce severe, long-lasting genetic disruption linked to cancer and chronic disease. And then, of course, I think oxidative stress is in all of this and more. Joining us is Dr. Basima Williams. We're glad to have you here on Worldview Tube, Dr. Basima. And of course, you know, we have not only this channel, but we have worldviewtube.com/health. We have a 24-hour-a-day home and health channel at worldviewtube.com/health. And the traffic on that thing is really high. Apparently, lots of people like watching health stories and interviews like this. They find, I don't know if I said this to you last week, but I have a friend of mine. He's probably what, about 6'2"? What do you think? 6'2", 325, Logan? 300? He is a big boy. He's a big Southern redneck boy. I don't think he would be offended by my saying that. You think he's 6'4", 6'5"? Yeah, he's an old football player. Big, rough, tough fisherman, hunter. And he called me about 10 days ago and told me how much I love listening to your health channel and listening to Dr. Basima. And I was stunned. I was not expecting that. I thought he only listened to sports channels. He's like, I could just listen to that stuff for hours. So I was stunned by that. What do you think?
What's his name? What's his name?
His name is Vic.
Hey, Vic, thank you so much. I love that you love listening, and I love teaching. My kids actually joke. They're like, you became a doctor so you can become a teacher, didn't you? Like,
well, Vic, you made Vic's day. You made Vic's day. I can promise you that.
Well, you want to hear something else funny? I was in Kansas City this weekend, and my friend just sent me a text and said, hey, I just listened to you on this show called Worldview. You're famous. I'm like, oh my gosh, how did you find me on that show? She said Spotify. I had no idea I was on Spotify.
Yes, we were on Spotify. So one of your friends found you on our network.
Yep. And she had no idea that I talk with you on a regular basis. So
there you go.
That's really cool. And you know what? That's one of my blessings is being a teacher and making things understandable, because I can understand what people don't understand. But also, I love teaching and helping and preventing disease. If we can do that, we're hitting a home run.
We are hitting a home run. You got that right. And by the way, I forgot. I hope you're coming. I hope you marked your calendar Friday night, October 3rd, Saturday, October 4th. We talked about you and Mike coming to the Mid-South, but remember our national conference is in Collierville, right outside of Memphis. I think Tina's planning on being here, your sister.
Yeah, I probably will. I can't guarantee you my homebody husband is going to want to come, but we'll try to, it's just a car drive, so it shouldn't be too bad.
But you know what? Sounds like your husband and I would get along really well, because I hate to travel, and my wife's always saying the same thing. It's just a home. Hey, honey, Dr. Bashima's husband. Dr. Bashima's husband hates traveling too, babe. He's a homebody, like I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's always trying to get me in a car. It's just a car ride, like you just said. All right. Let's go to this. Breaking news. mRNA injections induce severe, long-lasting genetic disruption linked to cancer and chronic disease.
Yeah, so I have not, and this is something that you just now showed me.
Yeah, I did.
Just before we got on the show. And, so I haven't actually read this article, so I just want to throw that out there. But I do want to say, in general, any kind of anything that causes inflammation within your body is going to cause an increase in reactive oxygen species. So whether it's a virus, I'm not quite sure how they're really relating this to mRNA and the mitochondria, which is where some of that type of DNA exists. But the bottom line is what we're seeing here is an increase in reactive oxygen species, the ROS that's inside of that mitochondrial cell. But what we need to understand as a general society is there are a lot of things that are causing reactive oxygen species, whether it's EMF, toxins that we're being exposed to, whether we're ingesting them orally or we're being exposed to them through the fumes that we're breathing in. One of the biggest causes of reactive oxygen species is our diet. And not only what we're eating, like say, for example, we're eating the bad oils, the rancid oils, the fish oils even that are rancid and have been sitting on a shelf for a long period of time versus the fresh ones that are pure and clean. And people not understanding that omega-3 oil goes rancid quickly, or eating the wrong seed oils, or eating too many saturated fats, or eating a diet that's high in sugar. All those things cause a significant increase in reactive oxygen species. And the problem is that our body can only take so much. And so there's this little seesaw, depiction of, where you're making antioxidants, and then you're also getting more reactive oxygen species. And also, is your diet rich in oral antioxidants? Are you taking in oral antioxidants? And are you giving your body the things it needs to make good oxidative, basically, the antioxidants are quelching or putting out the fires that the oxidative stress are causing.
Wow. Let's go to this one real quick. The deal with fertility rate. I guess it's dropped at a historic low for 2024. Women are only having 1.6 kids, 1.6 kids per woman in America. I think I read a study the other day, Dr. Basima, 1 in 4 adults, or kids, young adults, will remain single, 1 in 4. And I think that's by choice, a lot of them. This is not a good trajectory for us. And this may be one reason why they wanted to have the borders down and open and liberal immigration policies. I don't know. I still think, it's just my opinion, we are going to see some kind of amnesty program. We're going to see something where a lot of folks are allowed to stay or brought back in for the fact that our population is declining and we need workers. And apparently, we in some of these entitlement programs, a lot of Americans just don't want to work. And sadly, according to Nick Helsher and all these other guys I've interviewed, we have a lot of people that are disabled now from the shot. They're out of the workforce. Millions of them are out of the workforce and missing because of disabilities from the shot. Not to mention those that have died and are dying, because that trend is still going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is one of those things where we really, really need to increase how we take care of our bodies. But, going back to the 1.6 children per woman, and we don't know if that is because, and I don't know if it says it on there, but I don't know if that is because women are unable to get pregnant or because they don't want to have that, a large number of kids. Also, just
look here, it says here, more women are waiting longer to have children or never taking that step at all.
And that is the problem. The longer you wait, the harder it's going to be to actually have, have that the actualization of actually bearing a child, because, and also you're at higher risk for complications with pregnancy and also with baby. So then you get to a certain age and you're like, maybe I just don't want to have a child. So yeah, waiting to get pregnant, maybe not getting, delaying pregnancy, delaying marriage, and therefore also delaying pregnancy, career jobs and opportunities for women, not allowing them to necessarily get pregnant. And also, unfortunately, I do have to say, in my practice, a lot more women with things that are very much, since we're talking a lot about reactive oxygen species, antioxidants, and things like that, hopefully in the next couple segments, one thing I will tell you is the number one cause of infertility in my practice is PCOS, and PCOS is caused by insulin resistance most of the time. And most of the time, insulin resistance is caused by being overweight, not always, but by being overweight. So in some cases, overinflamed or too much reactive oxygen species in your body. And this is where we actually saw in our practice in real time, the vaccine definitely affected a lot of my patients' periods. They all of a sudden had really heavy periods, no periods in some cases, and hair loss, and all sorts of other things that were specific to female hormones after their vaccine. And it took us about 6 to 12 months to re-regulate everything. And that was with a lot of hard work and really turning down the inflammatory processes that were going on in their bodies.
So here it says here, People are marrying later and also worried about their ability to have the money, health insurance, and other resources needed to raise children in a stable environment. 1.6 babies per woman is the headline, but how's that relate? Let's give some grounding here. In the early 1960s, total fertility rate was around 3.5, plummeted to 1.7 by 1976 after the baby boom ended. It gradually rose to 2.1 in 2007 before falling again, aside from a 2014 uptick. The rate in 2023 was 1.62 and inched down in 2024 to 1.59, according to the CDC's National Center for Health Statistics.
Yeah, so I think it's both. According to this, it seems like it's largely a social, economics issue, not so much a physical issue.
Right.
Though some can argue that physical issues do play a role, because if you wait too long, then you may be fearful of having a child with disabilities because the rate goes up when you wait, the longer you wait to have children. And that's a real fear by a lot of women. You know, you have 2 kids and you're 35 and you're trying to decide if you should have a third one or not. And you're being told, well, now you're in a high risk population. And that really plays on our on my female patients' minds.
Let's talk a little bit more about antioxidant stresses and whatnot.
Yeah, so the reason I wanted to bring this up is you had a really good point of, hey, I really want a great antioxidant because you're all about prevention. And so if we can prevent, then we can, we don't have to deal with the treatment later on. And so why is having sort of and we had talked a little bit about this, but really living an antioxidant sort of lifestyle, right? Keeping the inflammation in your body low at all times with all different ways. When I treat my patients, I'll tell them a lot of times, think of your body as a burning house, and you don't have just one hose. You have about 5 or 6 hoses that you are going to try to put this fire out. And so putting out the oxidative stress in your body is going to require you to sleep better. It's going to require you to reduce stress and regulate. By reducing stress, it helps you regulate your stress hormone called cortisol and insulin better. And if you can regulate insulin better, then you regulate blood sugars better. But the oxidative stress that's happening to us day in, day out, with all the things that we are being exposed to on a regular basis, such as EMF. And I think we had a EMF discussion at one point with how it affects cells and significantly increases reactive oxygen species within a cell. Sunlight exposure, again, the UV lights are damaging. Things like tobacco use or excessive alcohol, excessive exercise is even very stressful. But probably one of the biggest ones that I see in my practice is either illnesses like viruses or bacteria because of a process called phagocytosis that has to happen, and the oxidative burst that has to happen whenever your body intercepts something that shouldn't be there. Like we talked about leaky gut and all the things going through the gut and the immune system being right there. And it's your immune system, your initial immune system response is to literally make peroxide and break down the foreign invader so that it doesn't affect your body. If you're doing that day in, day out all the time because of, leaky gut or your diet, then you have a problem. But the other big thing, do you know how toxic having a high blood sugar level is?
No.
And do you know why? Blood sugar is probably one of the biggest, high blood sugar is probably one of the biggest reactive oxygen species maker in your body. And that is because glucose reacts with proteins and lipids in the blood, and it produces something called advanced glycated end products. And what these do is we term them AGEs or AGE, and there's actually RAGEs, RAGE receptors for these age products that actually bind to these cell receptors and actually induce a horrible pro-inflammatory response. And we call it, in functional medicine, one of our teachers called it sticky bun disease because, if your blood has a lot of sugar in it and it's kind of sticky, then you're going to be making a lot of these glycated end products. And that advances your age at the cellular level so much. And that's one reason why fasting 14 hours every day is a really good thing to do. But high blood sugar can kill you. And so what does the body do? The body, if you're eating a lot of sugar and you can't get the sugar inside of a cell, once the sugar is inside of the cell, then it's not just floating around in your bloodstream anymore. So that's good. So we want insulin to open up to get the glucose into the cell so that you can actually make energy out of it. But if you're not able to do that, like in a diabetic's case, and your blood sugar is chronically 300, you're advancing your age so fast. And so you've got to get your blood sugars regulated. This is why even in my non-diabetics, we are using continuous glucose monitors so that they understand how food is affecting their body. So food and sugar especially is one of the biggest causes of aging. And when we talk about aging, we're not talking about, looking older. We're talking about the cells working less efficiently. And that's when problems start to occur. DNA damage, cancers, and other diseases start to happen the more reactive oxygen species you have. Now, on the flip side, as you know, one of the best antioxidants that quench up these negatively charged electrons is glutathione. And so we really, really like glutathione. We love eating an antioxidant-rich diet, so lots of color in your food, but we also want to be careful to not put food and things into our body that raise our blood sugar and cause a whole bunch of other harm.
Let's go to this real quick, because we have, now this is online. The hidden burden, oxidative stress. So this is a brand new supplement we've worked together to develop. We're announcing it here now for the first time. They can now order it if they go to myvitamin.com/worldview. If you do that, /worldview, it'll bring you right to this page. So tell us about this.
Yeah, so these supplements are the 3 capsules. If you scroll down, you might be able to actually see a picture of them. And these have a lot of really some of my very favorite antioxidants in them. Number 1 is the NAC. NAC stands for N-acetylcysteine. N-acetylcysteine is your body's rate limiting step to making that glutathione that we just talked about. The nice thing about having NAC in your system all the time is that as your body needs the glutathione, you will be able to then make it on your own versus you taking just straight up glutathione, which then gets used up right away in 2 hours, and then you don't have any left for the rest of the day. So making sure you're always having a good dose of NAC is a really good idea for antioxidants. That bright yellow capsule, that is the turmeric. And that is, when you talk to functional medicine cancer doctors, and I've talked to a lot of them, and you ask them for one of their top, what are their top 3 favorite supplements, almost always turmeric is one of them. The thing with this turmeric is that you do have to have it in a capsule where how to make this difficult to absorb nutrient highly absorbable. And that's what I love about the technology that we use. This is a turmeric that's very highly absorbable and therefore highly available to the cells for the potent antioxidant effect. It does so many things. It activates something called the NRF2 activation system, which is the opposite of making inflammation. It actually is churning down inflammation. So I love that. It also is a natural chelator for heavy metals, which we are all constantly being exposed to.
So there.
Now that last sort of purplish brown pill, that one is chock full of a whole bunch of natural organic polyphenols. Polyphenols are what's in plants naturally. So all these amazing polyphenols, everything is fresh. We don't make anything ahead of time. Nothing sits on a shelf. And I think that that's really, really important if you want something that's actually going to work. But I want to be very clear, while this is a very, very, very great, it's a great pack. It has a whole bunch of other things in it, including vitamin A, some C, a little D3, some zinc. So it's got all that combined in those 3 capsules. But what I really want to make sure that we understand is taking these capsules will not outperform a bad diet. And so we really want to focus on eating a good whole foods diet. And if I may, I want to just make some general recommendations that I make for my patients. Number one is that you eat about 5 or 6 servings of good, healthy oils every day. The healthy oils are the monounsaturated fats, primarily the avocado and olives, and then also making sure you get some good, clean omega-3 fats. I mentioned earlier that when you ingest rancid fats that are old, this is one of the reasons why when you get good quality olive oil, it's in a dark glass container because light causes oxidative stress to happen. So it changes, denatures the type of oil that you have. It denatures some of the bonds in the oil. So now you're putting something rancid or bad or sort of old in your body, and your body has to deal with that. Now, if you have fresh fish, that's awesome. So fish is a great source of omega-3. Chia seeds, flax seeds, walnuts are all great. Flax seeds, you do want to grind those freshly. Already ground flaxseed, because omega-3 oil is so sensitive to temperature changes. If you grind it early, it'll go rancid quickly. It's also a reason why I don't recommend, in general, flaxseed oil, because I haven't found a great one, to be honest.
Really?
But fresh flaxseed, really good. So that's sort of the oils. I can talk a little bit about the carbs and proteins in a second if you want. Do you have any questions about the fats?
I don't think so. Do you have any foods that I would like? Because I don't like avocados, and then I don't think you named one thing I like.
Number one, this is why we put every single person on a fish oil, because fish oil it actually shuts down inflammation in many different pathways, but it also competes with the pro-inflammatory pathway. So everyone should take a good, clean fish oil, which we have in every single one of our foundational packs. So if you're going to do a antioxidant pack, you should combine it with a foundational pack. We're actually going to have that on our website very soon as well. Them together rather than buying 2 boxes separately.
So if I don't get my oils from the things you mentioned, taking the fish oil will supplement, not having to eat avocados, which I don't want to do. Logan loves avocados and making avocado dip. He loves that, not me.
I'm going to have to make it for you because it is amazing. My problem is I eat too much of it. But the other thing too, the other secret that I have a lot of my patients do is I will have them, you like olive oil for your salads and stuff? Is that okay?
Olive oil? I guess I prefer ranch or vinegar.
Yeah, so see, you want to get rid of the inflammatory foods. Those are kind of inflammatory. Okay, so the other place you can add the olive oil is to your salads. Obviously, you can eat olives, but one other thing I do a lot is I actually chop up my avocados, put them in the freezer, and I put them in my smoothies. You can't taste them, but boy, does it make that smoothie creamy. So it's actually really good. There's also recipes for avocado chocolate pudding that's actually full of antioxidants.
Avocado chocolate pudding.
Yeah, it's actually, look that recipe up. It's amazing. So you can definitely do that as well.
Is there real chocolate in that?
It's cocoa powder. Yeah, and then you can put a little stevia in it just to not have a high glycemic index.
Does it taste like chocolate pudding?
It's amazing. Wow. I actually love it, but I have a bias towards I love avocado, so I don't know if it tastes too much like avocados because I love it anyway. So I went, so it is a treat, and you don't need much, just a little tiny bit after dinner, so good. But the other things you want to really, really watch is your carbohydrates. Your carbohydrates are anything that's not a protein or a fat is a sugar, which is what a basic carbohydrate unit is. And with the sugars, you want to make sure you're eating about 3 cups of vegetables a day and 1 non-starchy vegetables. And then you also want 1/2 to 1 serving of a starchy vegetable and also a little bit of a grain like brown rice, purple rice.
I love brown rice.
Yeah, or lentils or something like that. Those are all grains those are all high in fiber too. And those are the carbohydrates you want to have in your diet. Those are the ones that are not going to be spiking your blood sugars like, say, a piece of white bread is.
No, I don't do bread. Remember, all bread. But what about my beloved cream corn and my beloved butter beans?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's in that recipe, but cream corn. Corn is very much a mimicker of gluten. So people who are sensitive to gluten, which we're going to check with you, by the way.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, so we know you're probably not celiac, but we're going to check for non-celiac gluten sensitivity when we do your specialty labs.
Okay.
Those people, we get them off corn as well because there's too much cellular mimicry with those.
But what about my butter beans?
The yeah, I'm not sure what's in your, is it just butter beans? Just
Butter
those big
beans.
beans?
Just
Those
butter
are
beans.
fine. Those are okay.
Usually you're doing baby butter beans.
Yeah, those are totally fine.
What about my
Now, if
black
you
eyed
have them,
peas?
yeah, those are fine too. But
And my
again,
tomatoes?
yeah, I think your tomatoes are fine.
Cucumbers?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, we're good. We're doing good.
Yeah. Yeah, you're doing really good.
Mhm.
You got to watch how much and all that kind of stuff. We created a course that goes through all of this. But then, of course, your protein, you want to talk to your doctor about your protein if you have any kidney disease,
I think you're my
pregnant, or
doctor, so I
nursing.
think we're doing that right now. I don't
Yeah.
have a doctor. Oh,
So
like
you want,
what kind of protein? Like steak?
yeah, you can have steak like once a week if you want, but what
Uh-huh.
we want to focus on first with protein is making sure that we're getting a good amount every week. So I'm sorry, every day. So we want to range between zero point 0.4 to 1. That's a wide range. So zero point 0.4 to 1 gram per pound. So if you weigh 100 pounds, then you could have 40 to 100 grams of protein. And the range is specifically for, and this is where you talk to your doctor about it. So since you're pretty healthy, I would give you a zero point 0.8 range, zero point 0.8 grams per pound goal to get to. And that is a lot of protein, but we need our protein. What we're doing in this society, when you look at the macronutrient distribution of what we're eating about 80% carbs every day. And that's not okay. That's going to make you obese. It's going to significantly increase reactive oxygen species, type 2 early onset diabetes, all sorts of bad things. And obviously, when we start getting more oxidative stress in our body, more cancers, that was one of the biggest reasons I went functional, is when I was looking at the statistics of patients working with functional medicine doctors had a significantly less likelihood of developing cancers. And that was all because we were decreasing the inflammation in their body.
Huh. What about blood types? Does blood type matter as to what I eat?
There's a blood type book, and some people swear by it, but in my practice, I have not found that to be true.
Okay. What about like my daughter and I? My daughter was just here with my granddaughter, and my daughter says she said to my wife, I'm basically dad, and she is. She is very much like me. We're very similar in what we will eat, what we won't eat, what we like, what we don't like. And we're very similar in our blood sugar as far as I don't know, you have to tell me if there's even a test for this, but I have at least the assumption that I probably have hypoglycemia. Is that what you say?
Yeah. Hypoglycemia.
Yeah. Because I have to be very careful about my diet throughout the whole day and keeping my blood sugar, because it doesn't take much for me to all of a sudden be feeling very jittery, shaky, just not feeling good. And if I can get my blood sugar back up, I'm great. My daughter's the same way. What does that say to you?
The number one thing it says to me is you should do a continuous glucose monitor test. Okay, so just where you wear, where you wear this monitor, so you can really keep a close eye on your blood sugars 24/7. And the biggest thing that tells me is that you're probably eating way too many carbs and not enough proteins and fats with your food.
And carbs would be?
Anything that's not a protein or a fat is a carbohydrate, which is a sugar.
So watermelon?
Watermelon, watermelon, peaches, potatoes, anything if it's not a piece of meat or a fat, then it's a sugar.
Okay, I'm a big baked potato guy.
Yeah.
And I love watermelon and apples. I do apples.
Yeah. All of those will raise your blood sugar really high, and then insulin goes up really high, and then blood sugar goes down after an hour and a half. Insulin stays high for a little bit longer, because remember, insulin's half-life is a little bit longer, about 3 to 4 hours. So now we have insulin still high. Well, then your brain's going to get a message that you're becoming hypoglycemic, not because you're so great at utilizing sugar, but because you've created too much insulin. And that is no good. Insulin Too much insulin is no good. You want just the right amount of insulin. Too much insulin is a growth hormone, so it will make you grow in areas you don't want to grow, specifically in the fat cells. So a lot of times when you have a lot of insulin, you're going to get the sugar into the cell, but then you're going to end up hypoglycemic. And the only thing that makes you feel better is more sugar.
Oh, so that's why when I feel that way, I go for a handful of chocolate chips to try to regulate, because I either go for a 7-Up or Sprite or a handful of chocolate chips because I'm like, my sugar's low. And then within a little bit, I'm starting to mellow out a little bit. But I generally also know I need to I generally feel like, okay, I know that's going to crash, but I generally try to follow up with either a hamburger without the bread, when I was eating. It's crazy because I would also get headaches. So I'm like, if I could get a really greasy hamburger, I can get rid of this headache and get feeling normal. And there's a local hamburger joint, and I would run up there and get a hamburger, nice, big, juicy, and within an hour, I was back. A headache the whole night. But generally what I do, since I'm off gluten, is I will have to get some chocolate chips with a Sprite, and then I will ask Melissa to get me something like a salad with a lot of tomatoes, lettuce, something. I know I need something to offset, not just crashing on that sugar too.
Yeah. So a couple things you can do. And one thing I would do immediately is never, ever, ever eat without a protein and a fat. Okay. And also probably some vegetables. So what we generally have people do to decrease the risk of something called reactive hypoglycemia, which is what you have, then what you want to do is you want to make sure you are eating your vegetables first, your non-starchy vegetables first. They create something called a fiber net inside of your gut, so it decreases how fast glucose can be absorbed.
Are we talking like butter beans? Are we talking butter beans? Are we talking green beans?
We're talking broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, any non-starchy vegetables. If you just type in non-starchy vegetables, zucchini is great. Yeah.
I like zucchini.
Start with that plus your protein, and then make sure you add a little fat to that food. So what I do with my vegetables, a lot of times, if I steam something on the stove, I'll steam it because I don't like to, I don't cook my oils, because remember, heat plus oil is bad. Okay. If nothing else today, heat plus oil, and no matter where the heat comes from, whether it's cooking or light source getting in and creating those chemical changes in the oil, or even if we, our society that's chemically processing the oil, that's why a lot of seed oils are particularly bad, because we're chemically processing them with heat or chemicals. So we have no idea what in the world you're really getting into your body when you're eating those bad, rancid for you, bad oils. So if nothing else, steam the vegetables with water. Get rid of the water when you're done cooking them. Put them back in the pan and sprinkle a little fresh olive oil, a little squirt of lemon juice on top. And that broccoli or cauliflower, asparagus, whatever it is you're cooking, is delicious that way. And that's it. Put it on your plate. Now you've got your healthy fat with your vegetables, which will also help you absorb the very, very important fatty, fat-soluble vitamins, the vitamins K, A, D, E, which a lot of them your body can't even make. So you have to take them through your diet. So it'll help with that. It'll help regulate blood sugars. You want to eat your vegetables, fats, and proteins together. And what you want to say for the very end is anything that's higher in sugar, your brown rice, your watermelon, your peaches, whatever it is that you want to eat last should be the highest in sugar. And really, you want to try to eat natural sugar. So I'm not talking about a chocolate chip cookie. But I had a kid who was 12 years old. I got to tell you this story. Who was 12 years old, who would wake up in the morning and have such severe nausea that he would not be able to stop throwing up from 8 until 10 a.m. And he would do this for about 3 times a month. And he went to go see, and his mom is super smart. She's a nurse. His dad's an EMT, but like captain of the fire department. He's actually captain. So, they're really smart parents. But he was throwing up. And what they ended up doing, they went to gastroenterologists, they went to endocrinologists, and no one could really figure it out. So when they came to me, I said, this really sounds like reactive hypoglycemia. Let's put a continuous glucose monitor on him and see what happens. And sure enough, every time his blood sugar would drop down into the 40s, which is not uncommon for our little kiddos who don't have a lot of reserve these skinny little tall kids.
Yeah.
That's what he was. And so what we did is we significantly changed his diet in the way that I just told you. And he has not had another event, and I think it's been like 6 or 7 months now. I only had to see him one time.
Wow.
Because we diagnosed and treated him that one time because that's what it is. But if you don't understand that physiology, then you wouldn't know how. And unfortunately, you sort of have to understand sort of everything. You can't just understand why he's having this quote cyclic vomiting, and that's what he was diagnosed with the gastroenterologist. You have to have a reason for it. Like, why is your body telling you to vomit? And one of the things your body does when you become hypoglycemic is it sends out a massive stress signal. So massive fight or flight stress signal to break down and scavenge and find any glucose it can anywhere it needs to find it. And so part of that whole stress reaction is vomiting.
That's interesting you say that, because I was saying to my wife, when my blood sugar drops, I feel like I've just had an adrenaline dump as well. I get the same feeling like you do when someone startles you, you really get scared at something, and you 100%. Have this adrenaline dump. I'm like, why is it that my blood sugar dropping feels like an adrenaline dump? And you just...
The number one reason why people have adrenal fatigue, which is where your cortisol and all your adrenaline hormones, epinephrine, norepinephrine, are made. The number one reason is hypoglycemia, over and over and over again. And what we tell our patients, this is really, really cool, Brandon, is women who are having hot flashes, they become more sensitive to cortisol and let me just show you really quick. There's something called a hormone hierarchy. Mm-hmm. On the bottom of the hormone I just drew this for another patient, but on the bottom,
how did you know to pull that out? We didn't we didn't talk about this in advance.
But I have a whole bunch of other things on here. But anyway, the bottom of the hormone hierarchy is cortisol and insulin. You can't live without these hormones. All these other hormones on top, the testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, all these, I don't care about these. So if you're a woman who comes in to see me and you're not having a period and can't get pregnant, I don't care. If I don't fix this, you're not going to get pregnant. And so this is what we really focus on. So a lot of women, when they go through perimenopause, start having those darn hot flashes at night. If we can regulate their insulin at nighttime by changing how they eat, and the way they change how they eat is what I just told you, get rid of all the stuff that's in boxes and packages and all that stuff, and really focus on, the foods that you're eating, the order that you're eating them in, and then also stopping eating after dinner. So no late night snacks, no alcohol right before you go to bed. Your hot flashes go away. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Now, as you get closer and closer to menopause and go through menopause, it may not be the case, but initially for at least several years, your hot flashes go away, and vice versa. You have a crappy diet, you're probably going to bottom out your blood sugars at 3 a.m. You're probably going to wake up in a little sweat because your blood sugar bottomed out, not because, why am I having a hot flash today? It's literally a physiological phenomenon. So yeah, the number one cause is all the blood sugars dipping out. And it's not because you've got a super efficient system. Some people think, oh, because I have hypoglycemia, I have a super efficient system because it's better than hyperglycemia or too high of a blood sugar. That is not the case. You have a dysfunctional metabolic system because of what you're eating, and you can only control it with what you're eating, how you're exercising, how you're sleeping, what your stress level is like, all that kind of stuff. So
what about people? Yeah.
And we actually talk about this in our course.
And we're going to offer that course soon, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
I can't wait, because this is something where I think that just such basic knowledge to me is life-changing to other people. And, so had you not brought up your hypoglycemic episode, we wouldn't be talking about it. And that too, by the way, causes a lot of oxidative stress.
What about now, if you have your hypoglycemia makes you feel like an adrenaline dump, someone I know that was struggling with panic attack, I said, well, what you have to be careful to do is make sure that you don't go do these long fasting diet type things where your blood sugar drops, because your blood sugar dropping will make you feel like you're about to have a panic attack, and you're not having a panic attack. Your blood sugar is dropping. but the adrenaline dump can feel similar as you do with a panic attack. And it's that same feeling of your sugar dropping. So I'm not a doctor, right? But I just knew having the sugar drop felt like an adrenaline dump. And I know that panic attacks are really like an adrenaline dump. So I was saying to the person, if you are sensitive to panic attacks, I think you have to be careful to regulate your blood sugar, because your blood sugar dropping will feel like a panic attack coming on. And then you talk yourself into a panic attack when it's just you have low blood sugar. And I'm not a doctor, but I just figured that out from living, right? Right? That's
right. You're 100% right. And that is so true. That is actually why we do not recommend. Now, so then the other thing you need to know is the cortisol rhythm with your melatonin rhythm. And cortisol is highest in the morning and lowest at night. Okay. When it's high, you should be eating. When it's low, you should not be eating. And your body, this is how God created us. Your body at melatonin, high at night, creates a natural insulin resistance. In other words, your body naturally becomes more insulin resistant as you get closer to the evening. That way your blood sugars are not bottoming out when you're sleeping all night long, unless you've had a really bad diet and a lot of stress and things like that. You can safely, so a lot of my stressed out patients, I will have them safely fast from 7 p.m. until 8 a.m. the next day. The mistake a lot of my stressed out patients who want to fast make is they think they can wait until noon to eat. And that's not good. There's some other people who tend to be stressed out and also have panic attacks that also want to go work out in the morning and fast in the morning until noon. That is not okay for them. So these are the discussions we have. The best fast is a daily fast from 7 p.m. to 8 till 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. But I don't recommend fasting, especially for women. Men are a little different, but especially for women, I don't recommend generally fasting past 9. But definitely starting your fast the sooner the earlier. I try to start my fast around 5 p.m.
Wow.
5 or 6.
What about people waking up just out of their sleep? They wake up with a panic attack. Is that because their sugar's dropping and they're confusing that with?
It's one of the most common causes, because remember, when your sugar drops, if your blood sugar gets too low, you die. Okay. So what is that perceived as in the body? It's perceived as massive stress alert, similar to you getting chased by a tiger. Same, not exactly the same, but same physiological reaction in terms of a significant surge in norepinephrine, epinephrine, your adrenaline hormones, and then a significant surge in cortisol. Both sides. You have an endocrine and a nervous system response. And so then, yeah, you can wake up out of a dead sleep when that happens. And many people do. Many of my patients are like, I wake up every day at 2 or 3 in the morning. By the way, every single foundational pack has a magnesium that helps with that. It helps calm the brain down. It helps calm your system down. It's great for so many reasons, but one of the biggest things it does is it helps our patients stay asleep, which is nice.
Yes.
But it doesn't so that drop in blood sugar is a fight or flight response by your nervous system and your endocrine system.
Okay, then finally, what about my scrambled eggs and bacon?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Turkey bacon preferred. Yeah, scrambled eggs. What I generally tell my patients is with fat, remember, we say not too much saturated fat. We don't say no saturated fat. Saturated fat is any fat that comes from an animal that's solid at room temperature, generally butter, egg yolks, the fat in the bacon. So generally what I do with the bacon is turkey bacon, bake it in the oven. Don't mix it up in a pan and use all that grease that comes out of it. Dry it off with a little towel so that it's as little oil as possible. And then when you make your eggs, if you're going to have more than one egg, I would recommend one whole egg plus, 2 or 3 egg whites if you want to get more protein into your diet. The other thing too, if you want to do that, very, very, very important to add your vegetables in. Now, if you ate that for breakfast, 3 hours later, your blood sugars are not going to be bottoming out. You know why? Because your insulin never went up that high. Remember this too. Whenever insulin goes up high, that's not good, okay? And fat makes your insulin go up just a little tiny bit. Proteins, a little tiny bit. But carbohydrates, really high. And the more simple the carbohydrates are, in other words, a slice of bread, which I know you're not eating, but if you ate that with a piece of toast, well, now all bets are off because now you've just added some simple carbs. But if you eat just that with no toast and lots of, green bell peppers, red bell peppers, some onions, maybe even a little salsa, nothing wrong with that. Your blood sugars will not bottom out more than
Now, I love
likely.
salsa. I like
Yeah,
salsa. And I
me
like
too.
I like the corn chips with salsa. And I know that's also low fat. So like on a weekend, I enjoy a salad, steak, and baked potato. Are you
Yeah.
are you suggesting I should supplement the baked potato with something else?
If I did the baked potato, I would have a sweet potato. I would have anything with color because
I
more
like sweet
color.
potato.
Yeah, have a sweet potato and make sure it's about the size of your fist, not like one of those big. There's some the size of my face
I
that
know, that's
literally can
ridiculous.
cover my entire face.
Right.
Yeah. So get one about the size of your fist, but eat that last. Remember, that has more sugar in it than everything else on your plate. So eat your salad and your steak first and then enjoy your sweet potato. In fact, when I eat sweet potato, I feel like I'm having dessert.
Yeah, I love sweet potato. You know what else I love? Acorn squash.
Awesome. That's awesome too.
Now, Melissa takes acorn squash and, the little
Slices it.
slices
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, you're probably going to not like this part. But then she puts in brown sugar.
Oh, get rid of the brown sugar.
And what else she puts in? Maybe that's it. All she does is some butter and brown sugar, and she bakes it. Oh, my. You mix that up. Oh, my. Are you writing down on my naughty list or what there? Got a naughty list?
You're making reactive oxygen species with that sugar. You're destroying something good.
All right. So you're saying no brown sugar.
Why do you want more of these? Why
All right.
you made this antioxidant pack to kill these things off? Why are you putting sugar into
Well,
your
because I
diet?
didn't know that. And now you're helping me. So what you're saying now is that I can have my baby acorn
Listen.
squash, cut it in
Yes.
half and bake it, but no brown sugar in there.
Yeah, no brown sugar. You know what I do with mine is just touch it with just a little tiny bit of olive oil and then I'll bake it. When you're baking, it's different with oils than when you're cooking on a stovetop because you can control the temperature better. So then I bake it at a low 285. As long as you don't get above 350, you are good. But on a stovetop, let's be real, who's checking their temperature?
Right.
Like if you're like cooking broccoli with some olive oil and you've got a thermometer in there, good for you, but most of us don't. And plus, so once that oil goes bad, it's bad. Like you should not eat it. Once it turns brown, and then it's like, well, I'll wait until it turns brown. Well, it's there, if you're at 400 degree, so anyway, I always like to play it safe with my oils. I don't want to give my body any extra work.
No, I agree with this. This is one of the most fascinating shows we've done yet, number one. But all of these shows are fascinating. No wonder, Logan, our streaming numbers on the Health Channel are so high. This is fascinating stuff,
Well,
Logan.
you know what? Praise God for that and just give God all the glory because I'm doing what I'm being called to do. You're doing what you're being called to do. And I'm telling you, just with people understanding how insulin works and not wanting to bump their insulin up and having some control over that, that will significantly reduce inflammation in people's bodies. And then if they want to add the vitamins, great. I mean, it supports all of us. That's added, but definitely not, it's definitely not the first thing you do, but it's definitely an important thing to do if you're trying to achieve ultimate health and wellness.
Excellent. Look at this, folks. We just launched it. worldviewtube.com myvitamin.com/worldview. myvitamin.com/worldview. Now you got to go to that URL, use a worldview as the / if you want to end up on this page. This is brand new. I said, I want something powerful in antioxidants and these other things. And we came up with this. And we're so glad to be working with Dr. Basima to do this. And now it's available at myvitamin.com/worldview. And I think we'll even take this and we will cut it into clips and send it over social media. And Logan, I think we should run this and make some articles out of this. Some great articles. Wow, fascinating. All right. Hope you and Dr. Mike have a great weekend.
Thanks. You guys too. Take care.
Thank you. myvitamin.com/worldview. And if you want to watch this again, folks, of course, we'll post it up at worldviewtube.com, probably over the weekend, right, Logan? All right. All right, folks, that's our broadcast for tonight. What a program. Don't forget, a lot of this will be put up online for you to watch again tomorrow or share with family and friends. at WorldviewTube. And we're going to turn some of them into articles as well. WorldviewTube.com, WorldviewTube.com. Now, if you appreciate what we're doing, we need your support. WorldviewTube.com/sponsors, WorldviewTube.com/sponsors, and WorldviewFoundation.com. Hey, I've been studying throughout the week, and I'm ready to teach lesson 43 on the book of Revelation as I finish out Revelation chapter 18 on Sunday night, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern Standard, as I'm teaching through the book of Revelation, brought to you by our foundation, WorldviewFoundation.com. That is our Sunday night church service, and that is our church, Worldview Foundation, the Worldview Foundation Church. And so you can make a contribution now there at WorldviewFoundation.com, WorldviewFoundation.com. Thank you for your support. But tell all your family and friends about our studying through the book of Revelation together. Sunday night, 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern, at WorldviewTube.com. So we'll see you Sunday night for that. All right, roll the music. Let's call it a night. Great job, Logan, on our Robert E. Lee Arlington House documentary. We'll get it posted on Saturday come on up, Dolly, say goodnight. We'll get it posted. Come on up. Come on. We'll get it posted at WorldviewTube. You want to say goodnight to everybody? Yeah. You're a good girl, aren't you? Yeah. You've been laying around sleeping a lot this week, haven't you? You know why? Because you're not as awake now, because Heyman went home. She was very busy following my granddaughter. Yeah, you're a good girl. May God save America. Take care.